Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order. This is a meeting of the Zoning Board of Appeals for Monday, July 20th. The meeting is being recorded pursuant to town bylaws, and the recording will be supplied to Whitman Hanson Community Access Television to be posted on their YouTube page. So present tonight for the Board of Appeals is Mr. Winnett, Mr. Travers, Mr. Curran, Mr. Jones, Mr. Kimball, Mr. Blas, and myself, John Goldrosen. Also present is the Assistant Fire Chief and Acting Fire Chief is present representing the Fire Department as well. So our first case tonight, this is case number 8 for 2026. Location of property, 138 South Ave, type of district, residence, general residence. Type of structure, existing and proposed. Owner's name, Robert Murphy. Owner's address, 11 Birch Bottom Circle in Rockland. When did you acquire this property? September 2018. Has application been filed with town clerk? Yes, not previously. Has any previous appeal been made? No. Section of bylaw of which relief is requested, section 240-7.2, site plan approval to raise meaning destroy the existing structure and rebuild a new structure. This is for the purpose of an accessory dwelling unit pursuant to section 240-6.6. This case was advertised in the Enterprise on July 2nd and July 9th. So let's see, sitting on the case will be Mr. Curran, Mr. Jones, Mr. Kimball, Mr. Blas, and myself, John Goldrosen. This time we'll have the reading of the list of abutters unless I hear a motion to waive the reading.
I'll make a motion to waive the reading.
Okay, Mr. Kimball moved to waive the reading. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Jones. All in favor? 5-0. Okay. We ask that anybody participating in the hearing, including the applicant, if you just raise your right hand, do you solemnly swear to the answer you shall give in this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Okay. Would you identify yourself for the record, and again for the sake of our tape recording, and just explain what you want to do?
Sure. My name is Robert Murphy. Property 138 South Ave, like we discussed. There's a dwelling out in the rear. It's a single family, 1-bedroom, single level ranch that's in need of repair, extensive repair. And then there's a garage on the property as well, which is also in need of repair. And we feel that the best process for the community as well as the property itself is to raise those two structures and create a 2-bedroom, single-story ranch with garage on the side.
And what is the main house? How just for the record again, how big's the main house? How many units are in the main house?
The front house is a 3-family unit.
Okay.
There's 2 bedrooms on the second floor. There's 2 1-bedroom units on the first floor.
Okay. So 2 1-bedroom apartments on the first floor and a 2-bedroom on the second floor?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. And I'll just anticipate questions from the board. The proposed, and the board has, there's 2 plans. One shows the existing situation with the old dwelling out in back. It's going to be torn down in the garage. That's one that says plot plan. Yeah, it's labeled plot plan in draft copy, and then the one that says proposed ADU shows what's going to be built on there. So who will be using the garage? I guess what's the garage for?
The existing garage?
No, the proposed garage that's going to be attached to the.
Whoever moves into the rear property.
Excuse me?
Whoever moves into the rear property.
Okay, so that's going to be for the use of the people in the ADU.
Correct. So parking is an issue there.
Yeah.
So I felt the best way to alleviate that would be to use the garage.
Okay, and if you can just, people have a did everybody, did I hand out enough copies? set of architectural drawings, right? I think I got like one for every two people there. So if you could just, again, for the record, just kind of explain how many rooms are in, so I see a two-bay garage, and then there's a living room, kitchen, dining, 2 bedrooms, and is it a single bathroom?
Correct.
Right, okay. And then just a pitched roof, so is there any storage space above the?
There's no plans for any storage.
Okay, it's just decorative sort of, okay, that's fine. We prefer it that way. Slab foundation or basement or what?
4-foot crawl space.
Crawl space, okay. All right. Let me just, I'm going to read some letters into the record from other town boards, and then we'll have questions and comments from members of the board. From the planning board reviewed the application plans for 138 South Ave. A motion for favorable action with the condition that knowing what existing structures be removed, with a vote 4-0, sincerely in favor, sincerely Adam Somerville, Chair. Whitman Fire Rescue and Emergency Services. At this time, Whitman Fire Rescue and Emergency Services has no objection to this proposal, provided all applicable fire and building codes are met. This includes 760 CMR 7100, which regulates the size of an ADU, cannot be larger in gross floor area than half the gross floor area of the principal dwelling, or 900 square feet, whichever is smaller. Sincerely, Nicholas Grasso, Deputy Chief. And from the Board of Health, the Whitman Board of Health gives conditional approval to the petition of Robert Murphy for site plan approval for the demolition of an existing accessory building and the construction of a new building to contain an ADU. DPW records show the existing home is connected to town water and sewer. To receive final approval, the detached structure with proposed ADU must also be connected to town water and sewer. Sincerely, Dan Kelly, health agent. So let me just first for Deputy Chief Grasso, any special, since the building inspector isn't here, perhaps you know, having the garage connected to the unit, is there any like fire separation issues with that or special?
It would definitely need at least 5/8 sheetrock
Okay.
in there, but that's more of a building code.
Okay, so that's a building code issue. Okay. And again, for the record, the size of the dwelling, if we just go by the outer dimensions, is what, about 700, 800, 30?
768.
768. And there's some parts of that that wouldn't be included anyway, so it's under the 900 square feet maximum. And then, so I'll follow up on a question from the Board of Health. So the unit that you have out in back, is that connected to water and sewer?
Yes.
Okay. So are you going to be able to use the same connection for the new? Okay.
That's the plan, yes.
Okay. And what other utilities is that? Is there electricity out to there?
Electrical that runs straight to the pole.
Okay. And I see on the both the existing and the proposed site plan propane tanks out back.
That's correct.
What are those for?
There's propane obviously currently in for heating and hot water. Those are going to get removed. I haven't really figured out exactly if we're just going to do heat pumps or whatever,
Okay,
or natural gas.
so those are going to be
Those are
removed.
going to be removed.
Okay.
The code won't let him use that.
Okay. All right, then let me go to questions from the board, and we do allow questions from members who are not voting on the case. Mr. Winnett, any questions or comments?
No, just on the separation, so it does look like there is 5/8 gypsum board between the garage and the ADU.
Okay,
The dwelling spaces.
all right.
No, I mean, I think, the garage will take care of the ADU. It was How many parking spaces are there for the house up front?
Half a dozen.
There's
There's some grass there that they park on, so theoretically
Yeah.
it's 6.
Yeah, I walked by the property and that's what I observed is that because I was concerned about, you don't want a situation where the people in the house up front are parking in the driveway and the guy in the ADU can't get out.
Right.
But it looks like effectively all of the parking that you have, people park perpendicular to the driveway on the grass area to the left. Somewhat grass, somewhat pavement. So nobody is actually parking in the driveway, right? They
Correct.
just, yeah,
Right, they park off to the side.
they park to the side and then just use the driveway. So that won't be any problem for getting out of the garage or,
no question.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Okay, Mr. Travis?
No questions, Mr.
Okay,
Chairman.
Mr. Curran?
Is the existing building occupied now?
The one that's we're tearing down
Yeah.
is not occupied
How long has it been?
since April 1st.
Since
April 1st?
April 1st, so before that, part of that, there was someone living in there?
Correct.
And did you say the garage was part for the ADU, the two-car garage?
Yes.
So just the ADU is going to use that?
Yes.
Yeah, that's all I have.
Okay, Mr. Jones?
No questions.
Yeah. Mr. Kimball?
Yes, sir. One question. I think it's good. We're getting a little bit further away from the property lines, so that's not an issue. A question is, are we going to do anything to the existing building? On the right-hand side, there's a lot of siding missing, so on and so forth, up on the second floor on the right-hand side. So
I was unaware of that, but yes, we would take care of that.
Should be-
The plan is to put up fences, take some trees down, pave the driveway, fix the place up.
And are you gonna have parking spots allocated on the driveway when you paint it?
As far as marked out,
Yeah,
I haven't really thought that far ahead. I mean,
but I think it would be appropriate. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Blas?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was going to ask if you were going to extend the driveway, but I think you just alluded to that
correct, the driveway would go up to the front of the
right
garage.
to the front of the garage. Yeah. Any idea when the existing dwelling, the one in the rear, when was that built?
The documents I can find through the town says 1950.
50?
50.
Okay, so it's newer than I thought. I thought this was a well thought out plan, taking down two structures that are in need of significant repair and putting in the. I would have been okay even if we didn't have the ADU block.
Yeah, because effectively they're replacing one accessory apartment with another. Yeah.
And less, I'm all set.
Yeah, yeah, I'll echo, I think Mr. Kimball said, I like the fact that you're effectively, by replacing the accessory unit, you're moving it further away from the property line. It was, I don't know how close it was, 5.5 feet.
Yeah, 2 feet on one side.
Yeah, I don't know how that was ever done, but, so you're 14 feet away, which, that's now, well, we're removing a non-conforming structure and replacing it with a conforming structure because an ADU only has to be 10 feet away as an accessory structure. So we're improving that and, you're kind of opening up a little more space for your yard to the extent you use it by removing the existing garage. So you mentioned you're going to repave it. So based on that, I would suggest, I don't think I'd make it a requirement, but you have enough parking now, but if you're going to repave, you might as well really square off the area where people are parking now.
It certainly
You know,
does help, no
That,
doubt.
yeah, that'll make it easier to make, I'm sure, because you probably have to go in there and plow snow in the winter and everything.
It's a nightmare, the car setup.
Yeah,
This way I can kind of push it off to the side.
Yeah.
The existing garages and make it a little bit easier.
yeah. And like was said, if you line the spaces, a number of them that,
Sure.
I mean, you probably, let's see, so you've got 4 bedrooms in the main building?
Correct.
Yeah, so you probably have 4, at most 5 cars ever parked there, but, so you got plenty of room, as long as you square off that space, like I was saying, but I think as long as you're gonna repave it, might as well really do it right. Do you have is there a fence along the property line? What is to the, I know to the right of the house is the, lodging house, right?
Correct.
Yeah, what's to the left of your house?
I believe it's a 2-family structure.
Okay.
There's no current fence there. And then there's one on the back lot line, there's a fence in the back.
Yeah. Have you thought about putting a fence in on yours?
I was going to do a fence, thinking roughly 20 feet on the left-hand side towards the back of the lot. I wasn't going to go the whole way because it kind of crowds it, makes it a little tight there.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I guess, once you've put once you've squared off the parking lot, again, I wouldn't make this a condition, but you may wind up deciding to put a fence along the parking lot just to kind of
Separate.
define, yeah, it's because you're pretty close to the property line anyway, so that would kind of define it too. And,
Sure.
and that way too, if people are pulling into the parking lot, that they're not shining their lights on the people next door. But other than that, I think this is a definite improvement to the property. And as Mr. Blas said, it would have, it easily comes under the ADU bylaw. But if even if we hadn't had the bylaw, it could have seen it as just change to a non-conforming use that probably would have been acceptable anyway. So,
John,
yes.
just a quick question
Yep.
for you. This is a non-conforming lot. So what does, I don't have a copy of the.
Yeah, I took a quick look at it. I think we have provisions in there if they were adding to the main building and it was already non-conforming, we'd apply the same kind of standards. That if you're increasing a non-conformity, we need a finding. If it's a new non-conformity, it's a variance. But they're not doing that.
Right. But if this were a non-conforming lot, single family,
Yeah.
would they still just have to go for site plan approval? Or would we have to do a variance or a special permit, make it determined?
But if they weren't doing an ADU,
This is non-conforming. If the building out back wasn't there,
yeah.
then would we require more relief?
I think that was maybe, I have the copy of the ADU bylaw we passed a year ago. I didn't bring with me the revision that we did in response to the Attorney General's comments.
Email that to us.
But yeah, I think the Attorney General's position was you could not require a finding for an ADU or anything like, so I think we wouldn't have any
So regardless-
ability to require a finding for an ADU.
So if it didn't meet the lot area requirements, we're still got an issue.
Yeah, it's still eligible for an
That's kind of how I
ADU.
thought it was, but this one is less than 90 feet of frontage. And
Yeah, I thought of that,
the other
but
part of it is it's less than 87,000 square feet of land, and it is a multi-family.
yeah, but that was one of the things that the state definitely struck down was when we wanted to limit this to single-family houses. The state said you
No, I
can't
get
do
it. I
that.
just wanted to bring up.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought about it, but I don't think it needs anything other than site plan
What
approval.
about maximum lot coverage?
Well, probably, eyeballing it doesn't seem it meets it, but again, I just think,
It works out to about 21%, so it's still okay.
yeah, again, I think the state's position is you can't, if it stops the ADU from being built, you can't stop it. Because that's why they struck out variance or anything like that.
I mean, we're gonna get a lot of these.
Yeah, we'll have to kind of work these out as we go along, yeah. Okay, so any other questions? I think we're ready. So I'm gonna close the public hearing then. I'll just ask, how long do you expect the construction and everything to take on this? And,
I'm hoping to finish it late fall, early winter.
yeah, pretty quickly, okay. So the procedure, just so you know, is we have 2 weeks to file our decision. We'll vote on the decision right now. We have 2 weeks to file the decision. There's then a 20-day appeal period, in case anybody, obviously none of your neighbors are objecting, but if they did, so you can't get your building permit until you have a copy of our decision that the town clerk has certified was not appealed. So you do have another 30 days or more before you're going to be able to move ahead on it, just so you know. Okay, I'll close the public hearing. So go into deliberations. So what's called for is a motion to approve, to grant site plan approval for an ADU. I don't think there's any conditions to be imposed, so,
We have one.
okay.
I don't remember where it was.
Was there any condition, anybody?
Wasn't there one thing that we talked about?
Or do we want to have the marking of the driveway and the paving?
I'll just say that, because I live in a 3-family building, and we've got like 6 spaces, but they're not numbered. And it just isn't really necessary, and as long as they've got enough parking, which they're going to have.
All right, let's make a motion to approve.
Okay,
Site plan approval.
motion to grant site plan approval made by Mr. Blas. Is there a second?
Second,
Second by Mr. Kimball. Any further discussion? All in favor? 5-0. So that's Mr. Curran, Mr. Blas, Mr. Kimball, Mr. Blas, and myself, John Goldhausen. So you're all set. Thank you, and thank you for the detailed plans. That's really helpful. Thank you. Can you, everybody pass all the stuff down? And
it makes sense.
Yeah, plus the demolition.
You did what you should. It's gotta be $10,000.
Season.
Construction. So to see what the factory conditions. A lot of it. Yeah, they did.
Yeah, not just for this corona, but it's 10 years.
And before zoning, like the last one, they had some plans. Okay, so people try to find. Well, they wanted to get them, they wanted 2 restaurants, and 2 and
No, I mean, that's fine.
nobody said you was a big group.
John, you want to do minutes now?
yeah, it's, folks, can I ask you to be quiet because we're going to do some other business, and then at 7:30 we'll open the hearing on the next case. Okay. Yeah, we have minutes to approve, so let's see who is present. Myself, Mr. Blas, Mr. Keeman is not here tonight. Mr. Curran and Mr. Kimball were here for case number 7, 25 Rye Hill Street, which we continued the case, but we've got the minutes from the first hearing.
Make a motion.
Is that Mr. Curran? Mr. Curran made a motion to approve those. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Kimball. So all in favor, it should be 4 people then. Mr. Curran, Mr. Kimball, Mr. Blas, myself, all in favor. And then we have the general minutes for that meeting.
I make a motion to accept the minutes
Yeah,
for.
let's have the same 4 people vote on that since they were here. Mr. Kimball made the motion.
Second.
Second by Mr. Curran. All in favor? 4-0, Mr. Curran, Mr. Kimball, Mr. Blas, and myself, John Goldrosen. All right, let me get us set up for the next hearing. Here's the,
That was from last hearing.
okay.
That was just my copies.
Oh, okay, okay, great. Here's the butters list. Here's the butters list. Two notices on
Yeah, now we're back on track.
I was interested in the actual site plan.
Well, was this? Yeah, I've got one more.
Yes.
That's where no possibilities. We all been thinking about this. That's what I told you. The garage. That's what I told you. Oh yeah. All sprinkles.
Having our kids.
Yeah. I got an extra one second. You can hold on to that during the hearing if you need it.
Years and days. So, Dave and Lisa, their backyard could be as big as mine, but they don't.
Yeah, it's just.
Yeah, they have that little patch in the front.
Okay, it's 7:30, so I'm going to call the next hearing to order. This is case number 9 for 2026. Location of property, 96 Cherry Street. Type of district, residence A2. Type of structure, wood frame residential. Owner's name, E&A Real Estate Investments, LLC. Owner's address, 244 Liberty Street, Unit 3A, Brockton. When did you acquire this property? November 18th, 2025. Has application been filed with town clerk? Yes. Has any previous appeal been made? No. Sections of bylaw of which relief is requested. Section 245-4A12, variance, 247-3ABC 1, 2, and 3, and 247-2 site plan approval. Reason for asking relief: applicant wishes to raise, RAZE, the existing dilapidated residential structure and build a multifamily dwelling with 4 units containing 3 bedrooms each. This case was advertised in the Enterprise on July 2nd and July 9th. Sitting on the case will be Mr. Travers, Mr. Curran, Mr. Kimball, Mr. Blas, and myself, John Goldrosen. This time we'll have the reading of the list of abutters. Mr. Curran?
5 is the list of abutters as of June 8, 2026. 66 Bond Street. Trustee Sammy and Tower Realty Trust, Goodwin Road. 108 Cherry Street. Booty Michael R. Miriam Whiting J. 84 Cherry Street, Thomas Cohen, Thomas, Mary, and J. Cohen. 84 Cherry Street. 8890 Cherry Street is JCM LLC. 102 Cherry Street is Nancy Germain. 142 Lazel Street is Richard Clark. 117 Cherry Street is Michael Baggio. 87 Cherry Street is Christopher and Kimberly Murphy. 90 Lazel Street is Joseph and Catherine McDonough. 95 Cherry Street is Michelle Allen Jr. Trustee Mason.
Matheson.
You got it.
3 souls.
95 Cherry Street. 103 Cherry Street is Kristen and Joshua Fowler. 111 Cherry Street is Albert and Edward Mayo. 120 Lazel Street is Mary Beth Liz Lesnick. 122 Lazel Street is Alexander and Rachel Miner. 100 Lazel Street is Marshall and Shauna Otina. 4446 Thayer Ave is Ray and Valerie Tremblay. 115 Rainer Ave is James Shield, Rachel Carolina, Sarah Carolina, 115 Rainer Ave. 97 Rainer Ave is Aldo DeCenzo, Susie Family Trust. 125 Rainer Ave is Robert Miller. 40 Rainer Ave is Rainer Ave Realty LLC. 116 Rainer Ave is Trevor Kreiderman. 94 Rainer Ave is Evan Graziano.
Okay, thank you to everybody who's here. So the procedure we follow is first we have the applicant make their complete presentation to the board. I'll then read into the record some letters from town boards that have been sent to us with their recommendations, call on any town officials who are here. We'll then have questions and comments from members of the board, and we'll then go out to the public for your questions and comments. And I'll mention that first we record all our meetings pursuant to town bylaw, and the copy of the tape, the recording is given to Whitman Hanson Community Access Television, and they post it on our YouTube page. But in addition, the other reason for making recordings is so that our secretary can make minutes of the meeting, and she's not able to be physically here tonight. We have a tape recorder. So we do ask everybody who speaks to give us their name and address for the record, but also so we have it on the tape for our secretary. So if, I know Mr. Whitney, you're representing the applicant, I believe, but if there's anyone else, engineers or whatever, if we can get like their name spelled when you introduce them, that just so we have everything correct for the records. All right.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Who's sitting on this case again?
Mr. Travers, Mr. Curran, Mr. Kimball, Mr. Blas, and myself. Okay? We do let members of the committee, of the board who are not voting on the case still ask questions and get as much information out as we can. All right. Mr. Whitney, are you making the presentation or someone else?
You swear?
Oh, thank you. The other thing we do, thank you, Mr. Whitney, is because this is a hearing, essentially we're taking testimony from all of you. We ask everybody to raise your right hand and take an oath so you can participate. Do you solemnly swear the answer you shall give in this matter shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? All right, thank you. All right, are we ready to proceed now?
Yes, thank you,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman and members of the board. I see a few new faces here since the last time I appeared. Welcome, not unfamiliar faces, but new to the board. And pleasure to come before all of you here this evening. My name is Ron Whitney, and I'm here to represent the applicants, should say the applicant E&A Realty LLC, and the three principals are here with me, Lenine, Evandro, and Adama. Yes, yeah. And it's my pleasure to represent them here before you this evening. I first
So
became,
at the end of the meeting, maybe if you can write down for me their full names and everything,
I'd
so
be happy to.
we'll get that into the record.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd be happy to. I first became aware and acquainted with the property at 96 Cherry Street about 2 years ago. At that time, I was asked by a gentleman who lives down in South Carolina, Ken Orchid, who was the owner of the property. His mother had owned it. He had lived there with his sister. His mother's passed on. His sister was ultimately living there because Ken moved down south. And unfortunately, his sister had some demons. She had a drug problem. And as a consequence, she lived there by herself for a period of time. And then over time, took in a lot of like-minded people. There were probably 7 or 8 of them that were living there earlier this year. And it certainly was a huge nuisance to the neighborhood, and I think you'll hear that from some of the neighbors here this evening. So we had to go through the process of evicting all those people, which we did, and the property was put up for sale, and these gentlemen decided to invest in Whitman, and they have purchased the property and are hoping to be able to build a multi-unit building there, residential. It is in the A2 zone, and so we are asking for a variance from section 54812, which says that multifamilies are not allowed in the residence A2 zone. So you might think, well, here's a 4-unit building going into a residence A2 zone. That sounds like you're kind of pushing the envelope a little bit. But when you look at the neighborhood, it's not uncharacteristic of the neighborhood what we're asking for. Do we have the, if you would? In fact, on the right-hand side of this property, 96 Cherry Street, and on the left-hand side of this property is a 5-family and a 4-family. So I would make the suggestion to the board that this is very much in character with the neighborhood, and it is going to be a vast improvement of what is there. The building that is there will be raised completely, brought to the ground, and new construction will begin from the ground up. There are 12 parking spaces in total that are provided for on the plan. Our bylaws at section 7 and section 8 require 10.6 parking spaces. There are 4 3-bedroom units is what is proposed. They have the 2 garage spots underneath each unit, and there are 4 spots, open space in the back of the property. And you'll note on the plan that the property abuts limited industrial zone. So it's not as if we have close neighbors to the rear. This property is 15,000 square feet in size. When you look at the 2 neighboring parcels that we've given you the assessor cards for, those are almost exactly the same size. So it's very much in keeping with the neighborhood. In addition to the use variance in section 54A12, we are also asking the board to consider a variance from section 247.3, which requires 87,000 square foot for a multifamily dwelling. I'm not sure if I've ever seen that 87,000 square foot requirement met in all of my years of doing zoning work here in Whitman. I can't remember that there was an 87,000 square foot lot that was proposed for a multifamily unit building. As I said, the other 2 lots, one contains 15,400, the other lot contains 14,921 square feet. If you look at what the requirements are for section residence A2, the setback requirements for the front setback, the side setback, the rear setbacks, you'll see a building envelope on the plan that you have before you. And the building that is proposed is squarely within that envelope. But we also must look at, as you know, the board knows, section 7.3, A, B, and C. That is the 87,000 square foot requirement, the 50 feet from the lot line, 50 feet from the street setback. And so we're asking that you consider granting a variance from that section 247.3 A, B, and C. And also we're here on site plan review, of course, because it is a multi-family building. Lenine, who is here with us, happens also to be the gentleman who prepared these plans. He's an architect by trade, and so he's more than happy to answer any questions that the board may have. I'm not sure I could say too much more. The building is located 0.4 miles from the train station, so it makes it attractive from a standpoint of building multifamily housing in that close proximity, because as we know, that's a very popular train station used by many, many people every day. And this would be a great opportunity. This will not be an apartment house. Each of these units is proposed to be sold as condos. So you will have owners that hopefully take pride in their property, it will be a brand new property. Hopefully they'll take pride in their property and it will be a great benefit, a great upgrade to the neighborhood. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that the board has. We have pictures of the structure that is sitting here now, and you'll see that it is in quite a state of disrepair.
Mr. Whitney, could you have one of your team walk us through what the building and the units look like? Also, so what are the proposed setbacks that you need relief for?
Yeah, so the proposed setbacks are right here on this plan, Mr. Chairman. Yeah. So the setback from the street, 40 feet. The setback from the sideline on the right side, or the left side rather, is 15 feet. 16 feet on the right sideline. And the setback from the rear is 63 feet. Did you get that, John?
Yeah, so let's see. So, all right, so you meet the setback requirement from the rear, right?
Yes.
Okay. But the side requirements would be 50 feet, and you are 23 feet on one side and 15 feet
16
on,
feet on the other.
16 on the other. Okay.
And then on the front, setback from the street is 40 feet. We provide 40 feet, and per section 7(4), it's a requirement of 50 feet.
Okay. Okay, just wanted
There
to,
will be, by the way, no on-street parking. There'll be landscaping here to prevent any on-street parking.
Mr. Chairman?
yeah, folks, could I ask people to be silent because it makes it harder for us to hear and harder to get an accurate tape recording too, so.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes,
Point of order, please.
yep.
Has the applicant provided a site plan for the board review?
Do we have a plan that actually like shows in relation to the neighboring buildings?
Do you?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We do have a set. Sorry, my name is Peter.
What, maybe it's here.
Because we have the architectural plan that you have up there, but I don't know that.
So, a little bit of backstory. I bought this in November. I was planning on living there. So I went there, I met my neighbors, and I personally escorted the people that were living there out, and I cleaned this property with my own hands. And after that, I did some demo so I could inspect what was possible to do in this in that existing property. And unfortunately, it cannot be saved. It didn't have any foundation. We have a cesspit in place, so we moved to try to make it look okay while we think about what we could do afterwards. So I'm gonna still live in there in one of these units, and that's why after talking with all the neighbors, we didn't want like another apartment complex over there, because they were saying, oh, if you're gonna do an apartment, then it's a lot of people gonna need it now. We don't want that in the street. They said, no, if we want to do anything that has no units, we will make sure that whoever lives there feels that like they own this. They want to keep it safe, because these two people over here, they bought the house, and when they moved, we didn't know, they weren't aware. And they faced this for 15 years.
2003.
Yes.
So, and we don't want that to happen again. And that's why we want people to have their townhouse so they feel owner and feel responsibility in preserving that street. I've quite enjoyed that street, so that's the backstory of this idea that came
Okay.
in front of you.
Okay, so,
We do have a site plan.
yeah, if you could, just like to see that.
I do, we do.
Yes, it-
I have it on my mail, is there anyway?
Yeah, well, we want members of the board to be able to see it, so.
It's as important as your architectural plan.
No, we do, I did provide it for them to print it out and make it over, so.
It's important for us to see like where it is in relation to the other buildings, particularly when the neighbors start talking about.
Graphical, it's gonna show other dwellings, it's gonna show lighting, it's gonna show foliage, it's
Yeah, we
We do have it, I did provide it
Okay.
along with this place.
and we can hear testimony, but I don't know that we can vote.
Yeah,
on
do
something
you
like
have a set of them here?
Yeah. Well, we expected, quite frankly, coming in tonight, that this would not be voted on necessarily tonight. So we do have other plans that you do have.
The site plan, it was weird with this,
Yeah.
it's on the same set,
Yeah. So
because the site plan that.
perhaps if
was
this meeting is extended,
Okay, well, so you don't have one with us, with you, that we could just lay out in front of the board?
well, if you could give us just maybe 2 minutes to,
Yeah.
let's get these outside and see what we've got.
The other thing I'll ask you to do is to have somebody walk us through the architecture, what the layout is of the units and so forth.
Sure.
Okay, so. Okay.
Yeah, send it to me, I will print it.
My apologies for not having the set. So this one actually is taken from from the survey provided by Joe Webby. This is what gives us the setbacks and gives us the footprint of the building we should design upon. So this is Cherry Street. We're going to sit a little bit lower, around 4 feet lower than the Cherry Street, which is the natural grade that exists there. And we save this last for parking and for some storm control that we know we will need. So we reserve this area to do storm control to avoid.
And the lot slopes from Cherry Street down to the back, right?
Yes, it slopes this way
Yeah.
down to the back. So starting from Cherry to the bottom, this first one is a sprinkle house because the building is going to be full of sprinkles. This is a 4-unit. Then we'll have 4 equal units. Yes.
Is the site plan underneath that?
Yeah, it's under that sheet.
There's something underneath there.
Yeah, that's not gonna need to know the site plan.
Oh, it's
I
not.
believe it's the same. I'm sorry. So that's the next.
Yeah,
So it's going to take this top in.
Where is it?
That's what's up there. If you want to take it and share it with your neighbors.
Just trying to get it explained.
That is. This is another picture. So what he's saying is. This is the driveway. This is the profile. That's the
So I'm going to just show this, which is a typical plan of all the units. They're all the same, except some changes in windows and lighting on the end units, which we have to put if you open the window, we will do that. So,
Excuse me,
Yeah, folks,
I can't hear.
yeah,
Thank you.
again, we're just going to have to ask you just to not speak while the applicant's speaking.
so in the basement, in addition with the 4 parking that we have and exterior parking, we have 2 parkings per unit. So we'll get in here to have the parking, and this will be all the basement area. We'll have the HVAC systems, and we have an office space, and all of them will have like a garden in the back. So each unit will have their own garden in the back. They can walk out straight to the garden. They'll have the laundry here and a full bed. We provide a full bed for if they have children, they play outside, so they can use it and then go up. So, and through here, they'll go to the first floor, which will deliver them to the proposed living area with a balcony facing the front, a half bath, a kitchen, and a pantry. It's a pretty straightforward layout. And then from the stairs, they climb up, where they will have the 3 bedrooms with the master facing up front and 2 bathrooms. Any questions regarding the plans?
And is there any attic space or upper space above the second floor?
No attic space.
Okay. Okay.
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
That's not what the plan said.
All right. What?
The plan said it's 13 feet up there.
Yeah. That's.
That?
Yes.
No.
Our concern, maybe jumping to the issue, is
No worries.
we've had other cases, somebody has proposed X number of bedrooms, and then we find there's an attic space which has the potential to be, in some cases is, turned into additional bedrooms. So that's our concern, is that if any attic space be strictly too small or short to be usable.
Not living space.
Not living, exactly, cannot be living
If that
space.
were a condition to this board's approval, there's no problem whatsoever, because there's no anticipation that the attic
Right,
space will be.
but how is
As
it,
it is, the applicant is asking for 3 bedrooms.
But it can't be enforced unless somebody buys it.
but how is it designed? That's the question.
So no problem. So the reason we put HVAC unit in the basement is to completely, we don't need to provide legally by code, we don't need to provide access to the attic space. We do have some attic space because the way it's framed, since the gable roof, but we will have cathedral ceilings on the bedrooms to avoid have access to the attic. That was our intentional plan. We do have, from the ceiling limit of the bathrooms, which we do have to have a ceiling limit, We do have 9 feet because we went with a pitch, a very low pitch, a 12 on 6, which we can lower it if it needed to be. But the main reason we did that is to put the HV system in the basement. It's far more cheaper to put it in the attic and vent down. And it's far more doable. We have no shafts, no nothing. But we did that to avoid us having access to the attic, and so we could have cathedral ceilings so the rooms could look more grandiose. So
Okay,
that was the reason for this design.
okay. All right. And what's the total height of the building?
34.
34.
Okay, the maximum is 35, I believe, so you meet that requirement.
Yeah.
Okay,
And we are measuring to the ridge, and it's to the medium, so it's going to be even lower if you
okay.
go to the bylaws. But we can definitely make that pitch smaller. We can try to go to a minimum in manufacture, maybe 4.
No, you don't want
It's 5 to 6. It's pushing it a little bit.
6 is good.
Yeah, so that's why we went with a lower pitch. We thought about it because I've dealt with this enough in several times when we built other multifamilies on my job, not for myself, this is personal. And we run into these issues. And in Brockton as well, I do sit in one of the boards in Brockton, we run into this issue probably a lot more than we would like to. So I took that into consideration, and I kind of find a way to make it unusable or make it harder if people want to use it. And of course, we'll have a condominium that will regulate all those things.
All right. Anything else you want to present before I go to the next?
I just wanted to mention one thing that may not be readily apparent to the board as you look at the plans, and that is that the building will sit 4 feet below the street grade. So it tails off, the lot tails off to the back anyways, and so that will help bring it down a little bit, which I think, if you get down to 31 feet above the street grade, that's pretty normal for a 2-story colonial.
And what is I'm sure it's on the plan, but again, just for the record, what's the width of the driveway that runs alongside the units?
23 feet.
No, it's not.
Wait, check.
That's still a lot.
Well, it's 20.
It's less than 24. It's less than 23.
The driveway is 20,
It's
22 feet from the.
22 feet? Okay,
At the edge of the pavement.
No, it's not.
okay.
No, just the driveway is 20.
Well, you've got a side that's a planting area,
Yes, this is only 2 feet.
23 feet to the lot line. Then you've got a planting area, so what is the driveway width?
20 feet.
20 feet?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I was asking.
Yeah.
So that
Okay.
leaves 23 feet for planting? You've got trees in
Small bushes. It's just to present.
there.
Yes.
All right, let me go on and read letters into the record from town boards, and then we'll go for questions and comments from members of the board before we go to the public. From the planning board reviewed the application and plans for 96 Cherry Street, Whitman. The board agreed to move forward with a favorable recommendation with the following conditions: further review of the vehicle turning radius and driveway design, and confirmation of any required drainage for stormwater, with a board vote of 3-0. Sincerely, Adam Somerville, Planning Board Chair. From Whitman Fire Rescue and Emergency Services, at this time, Whitman Fire Rescue and Emergency Services has no objection to this proposal, provided all applicable fire and building codes are met, including but not limited to a monitored fire alarm system, fire sprinklers, and a fire apparatus turnaround wide enough for our largest piece of apparatus. Related fire codes: 527 CMR 1.00 Fire Safety Code 2021 edition, MGL Chapter 148, NFPA 72 Fire Alarm Code and 2019 edition, and NFPA 13R Residential Fire Sprinkler Code 2019 edition. Sincerely, Nicholas Grasso, Deputy Chief. Deputy Chief Grasso is here tonight. Can you elaborate particularly on certainly on the fire apparatus turning radius, but any other issues, if you could give us an idea what you're looking for, what they would need here.
So for the fire apparatus turnaround, so our largest piece of apparatus is roughly about 50 feet long. And when we turn down that road for the condo complex, how are we gonna get it back out? That's the main problem. It's all about safety. So you have about 150 feet of free space. Anything over that, it requires a turnaround. Whether it's like a cul-de-sac style or T or a hammer. So what is the distance from the road to the end of the building by those extra 4 parking spaces?
The road to the end of the building.
Yeah. I measured it out on my end. It's about 150 feet.
Through here.
Yes. But we can't just go there. We got to go another probably 30 feet past it to use our aerial device on our ladder truck. So that means we're going to be down in there.
I would guess it's somewhere around 120, 130 feet. Just looking at these numbers. We could open this up, I suppose, but cars will be parked here potentially.
Okay. And
Shows
where?
here that it's 96 foot 3 inches.
The whole length of
The whole length of
The
the
whole building.
But then you've got the 40 feet to the
Plus
street,
40 feet to the street.
So we're 100.
30, 36 or so.
136. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
And obviously with the fire sprinklers, and that's got to be monitored for that.
Yes. We provide an exterior sprinkler room, which will have all that.
Yeah, the dog
So
was
fire
fine.
department can have.
So can I ask you, because we're 95, so you backing up that truck, would you have issues? I know the street's not large, Cherry's very small.
Yeah.
We have a row of bushes in the very front of our property. I mean, would you be able to back it out?
Give you a college track.
Okay,
That's
that
why
will
we-
need
that's
new
why-
bushes.
That's why we like to have a turnaround so we can spin the truck around and just drive straight out
Yeah.
without, coming to any issues. I'm not sure how far back past those 4 spots the property actually goes.
It's 60 feet, 63 feet.
Past the
Not
end
past, it's around like 15 feet, I believe.
15 feet from the end of the parking
parking
spots.
spots, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so
We
it's,
can also push the parking spots back to give you more.
Yeah, anything would be beneficial on our end.
Yeah, we
Because
want
you-
to comply with everything and make
Because
that
you-
place safe, because I'm going to be leaving there with my daughter. I want to be safe.
so if you moved, if those extra parking spaces were pushed to the top of the plan, that could leave room for a T or turnaround at the very end, some way, in some fashion. See about that. All right.
What does that do to open space?
Yeah, that would
You
reduce.
have to
The
just-
best way to put it.
Yeah. And that's, by the way, why we have to have a site plan that shows the neighboring properties.
Yeah.
What is, I mean, you've got residential properties to the left and right of this, top and bottom, as we look at this plan.
So this-
What is to the left of the plan here?
This is Whitman Industrial over
Yeah.
here. I believe this is the foundry back here.
That's what I think. I think that's the
No,
foundry.
it's Whitman Machine Company.
Yeah.
All right.
The tool and die.
Tool and die. Okay. All right. Okay. I was going. Anything else, Mr. DeGrasso?
No, it's, I'm sure the board's going to bring it up, but like snow removal and where your dumpster's going to be, that kind of stuff, in regards to parking and where you're going to get rid of all the snow, but we can bring that up.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll put the dumpster on the site plan as well as the elevations.
All right.
Neighboring properties.
Let me, the last letter I have is from the Board of Health. The Whitman Board of Health gives conditional approval to the petition of E&A Real Estate Investments LLC for site plan approval under section 240-7.2 for the demolition of an existing residential structure and its replacement with a multifamily dwelling containing 4 units with 3 bedrooms each for the property located at 96 Cherry Street. Town of Whitman Water Sewer Master File indicates the current home is connected to town water only. To receive final approval, the owner must connect any new dwellings to both municipal water and sewer. Sincerely, Dan Kelly, Health Agent. Do you know if it is the existing building on a septic system then and not on town sewer? Do you know?
We did connect it to the town sewer.
It is
We
connected?
had a cesspool which we have to demo, and the town, when they inspect our work, we did connect. We will leave the connection flooded, because we were inspecting the building. When we found out the building was in the condition to be repaired or restored.
Okay, so you've already made
We already
a
made
connection
the
and you
connection.
removed the cesspool.
We
Okay,
already paid the fee and made the connection.
okay, all right. All right, let me go then to members of the board. Mr. Winnett, even though you're not sitting on the case, do you have comments or questions, please?
Thank you, I do have a couple of questions. So, as cars are pulling in and parking into the garages, they may be backing in, and I'm familiar with this property, I grew up on Cherry Street on the other end. The strip of trees that are right there, I used to spend a fair amount of time at 90, number 90, and my concern is that lights from the vehicles backing into the garages, they're gonna shine right into one of the bedrooms that's in number 90. So what is your plan as far as screening with respect to zoning code 240.10.6? You're gonna put any type of screening on this side?
Yes.
On the bottom side?
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, we're planning on doing that. Actually, most of these items we planned on addressing on site plan review.
Well, unfortunately, this is site plan review. That is part of this hearing.
I wasn't familiar it was. Like
Yeah,
that, so
yeah.
apologies.
So that's,
We will address all the questions and all the things when we do the proper site plan review from our end, not from you.
okay.
But we'll have some screening to protect that, probably with some, I forgot the name of those trees, but that's some trees that climb the fences and block it, so we can kind of shade a little bit from the lights.
Same with any outdoor lighting that you might have, like the lighting plan, so any floodlights or anything out there to be
Yep.
cognizant of the neighbors.
Yes.
Just, at 90. Then my other, my other concern is, appreciate the attic, but on the lower level in the basement, you've got an office, it has a closet, and it has a full bathroom on the lower level.
Okay.
What prevents that from turning into a bedroom? And now it's a 4-bedroom.
Oh, yeah, we actually thought about that. We did that office just for convenience, and we could make the full bed because we want people to use their backyards in the back. So that was the idea about where we got it. Actually, the attorney said that we might have to make it a half bed and transform the closet into the office into something else, which we are fine with. We just wanted to put more flexibility to the design itself. That's the reason we did that, but it wasn't we just wanted to become another bedroom. We don't want that actually.
Yeah, I think, depending on what happens with this, it's something that needs to get addressed.
Yeah.
If it's a 3-bedroom, it's a 3-bedroom.
Yeah.
Eliminate the potential for it to be a 4-bedroom.
Yeah, we can do that.
But I appreciate you putting the effort into it because I'm familiar with that stuff, so it would be nice to have it gone.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Travers?
I have a question for the fire chief. Can you refresh my memory on what the jack spread is for the aerial device?
I believe it's 5 feet on each side, so you're going to need at least 22 feet or so to walk around it, especially if there's any snow. But the truck itself is 8 feet wide, then 5 feet additional on each side, and then walking space. And
Yeah. I'm just wondering if they'll be able to deploy the aerial device in the driveway.
it's going to be snug. It'll be definitely real snug.
Yeah.
Especially if you got a 3-story structure and the clap zone, if it gets that big, you're going to be right in it.
No ground ladders in your arsenal that will reach the peak of that building from the driveway.
No, the biggest one we have is 35 feet and with the angle on it.
So you need room for an aerial device to properly deploy in that driveway.
Correct.
So that was one question that I had. And the rest, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to defer to some of the members that have more experience on the board than I do.
Defer to,
I would like to defer any of my further questions to other members of the
Okay.
board that have more experience.
okay. Mr. Curran?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Whitney, I looked at these, and these buildings, one was built in 1930, one built in 1900. This is the reason we have zoning. That's the reason we made changes, and so this won't happen. So this needs all kinds of variances. It's not an allowed use in residential A2. The driveway is not wide enough. My feeling is that I'd like to defer further questioning until after we hear from the neighbors. So for now, that's all I have.
Okay. Mr. Jones?
I've had similar concerns, and as we've seen in the past, those proposed offices turn into 4 bedrooms very quickly, and it looks like trying to circumvent the parking. In addition, if there's no parking, if you have any events, where is there going to be parking for people that may come to your house? And then if that's the case, if there's an emergency, it's already tight in the street. So it's going to be a nightmare for any sort of emergency services to get down there if anything was to happen, God forbid. In addition to that, it looks like on the plans that the attic floor is going to be a finished floor as well. So who's to say that that doesn't turn into a 5th bedroom in the future at some point? There's no way for us to, make sure that that doesn't happen once this is approved. As far as anything else, I'll defer as well to hear what everybody else has to say.
Okay. Mr. Kimball?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. First of all, you're proposing 4 units of condos. We really can't make it an apartment building or condos in methods to prevent somebody from buying all 4 units, changing the master deed, and allow 4 units to be rented. So that's, one of the biggest concerns is you've got a garage under and you've only got 20 feet to get the car in and out, and if you have a decent sized SUV or something, it's going to be very tight in there. So, I was disappointed walking by there today, seeing how much grass is growing up in front of the house. I know it's a bit, but it would be nice if you at least mow the front lawn and get the mattress out of the backyard. That's all I have.
Mr. Blas?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like you to refer to page A1-1.3, and that does show the pitch of the roof. And because the print's so small, I can barely see it, but I swear it says 13 feet 9 inches.
It's not, but I understand what you're saying. It's
So what does it? Right here, yeah, please.
Well, that's the length of the ridge.
That's the length of the ridge.
That's the length.
The ridge. This ridge here. This direction.
The board that's at the
Just
peak,
this one.
Richard, that's 13 foot 9 inches long. It goes horizontal, it's not the height
It
of it.
goes horizontal. Okay, that's what I was reading. That I was thinking that was to the top of the peak was 13. But that is a large. I guess. What is the total livable square footage of each unit?
Approximately 2,500.
2,500 feet.
Yes.
But that includes the basement
Yes.
and the garage.
Yes, it does.
Well, no, it doesn't. It shouldn't include the garage.
It's gross.
It should just include the back part of the garage.
No, but I didn't include this gross square footage. It's the entire.
Oh no, I want to know the livable square footage.
It's I think it's 2,100, I believe. Including stairs.
It says 2581.
That's the gross, including the garage and stairs.
Okay, so that includes the garage. So we back out the garage, which is about 500 square feet. It takes around 2,000. That upstairs is easily 600 square feet. And that's,
I'm sorry.
yeah, that attic, that 3rd floor is easily 600 square feet. And it could be turned into two bedrooms easily. You just have to realign the stairway.
We don't have the height. The attic space doesn't have the minimum required height. I call it. We're way under. The minimum is 7 feet. We are like 6'2", maybe 6'2" at the highest point, and we will have continuous ceiling in the master bedroom, which will take more than half. Mm-hmm. So it'll be open all the way. There's no attic space.
All right. So that's a concern, and as Mr. Winnett said, the first thing I saw when I was reviewing the plans was that basement, and I said, that's going to get rented. If that was me, there's $1,000 a month right there. Somebody anybody that buys one of those units, that's an instant $1,000 sublet right there. So we got to figure out a way to get rid of that.
Well, may I suggest, and maybe you'll shoot me for suggesting this, but do you care if there's an office downstairs?
No. We did it for flexibility of the space, but maybe we shrink the building a little bit and have more garage, just garage, and then solve the rest.
Rather than talk about, to my opinion, that the idea of what you want to do here, I think it's a good idea, but I think this is much too large for the space that we have, including each unit is much too large for that space. I think the whole thing needs to get shrunk before this is viable in that lot, especially with the width of the lot.
And actually, after reading all your concerns, it's valid points that maybe we didn't see it that way. You guys see it from a different perspective. You are familiar with the town more than we are, and there are valid points, and I would agree with to say that if that is something that happens, I don't want it to happen there because I'll be living there, and I don't want to face that. So I want to live in my own unit, and I didn't think that I'm going to rent this or rent that. So since I work from home a lot, I said this would be nice to have my office space here away from the family upset. That was my line of thought. But I would agree with your points that you raised, and that it will make sense because not other people will think like me. So I have to prepare for the worst and expect the best.
These are not inexpensive, so everyone that buys is going to be looking for some way to minimize their expenses each month. I'll reserve any future questions to site plan review.
All right. I want to hear from the abutters. Obviously, getting rid of a rundown structure is great, but we have to look at that. That's not enough justification, for granting relief because this is going to be there permanently. And looking at it, I just personally doesn't seem to fit with the neighborhood. Yes, we've got, as Mr. Curran said, yes, there are 2 multifamily houses on each side of it, but that's because they predate zoning. And I think each of those, when I looked in the assessor's records, it looks like one of them has, they're all 2-bedroom units. One has 5 units, 2 bedrooms apiece. The other 4 units, 2 bedrooms apiece. And yes, the lot's roughly the same size, but the footprint of those structures is much less than the footprint of what you're proposing. I certainly could see a duplex on this property, just to, facing the street. You can have the parking behind, whatever. If this was going to be allowed, 3 units rather than 4 would give you a whole lot more flexibility in terms of the parking and turnaround and so forth. But even so, it just seems to me out of scale to the other, all the other structures in the neighborhood are single family or 2 family as I looked at them. You could solve the concerns about the ceiling and the roof line by just making it, sure you can have 2 livable stories, but just maybe don't have the cathedral ceiling and they just have it look more conventional. Again, you could have a duplex and not have garages and just have sufficient parking behind the units on the rest of the lot, and you would have no problem with that at all. So again, I want to see what people have to say, and before we close tonight, before sending you off to do site plans, we'll get some sense from the board of where other people are on this. But my impression is this is just too much for the lot, and that's why we wind up talking about, is there sufficient room for a fire truck? Is there enough room for plantings? Is there enough room for a fence? Well, and that's even with giving variances from the side lot line setbacks. That would go away if it was just a duplex facing the street. That would be a much simpler solution. And I'll just I'll share everybody's concern about that extra space in the basement and point out that we do have a provision in the ADU bylaw that prevents it from being condos, so that might prevent it, but it's conceivable somebody would try to claim that that's an ADU when they rent out that space in the basement. So it becomes a problem. As far as the ownership goes, I mean, I appreciate that, and I think it's probably a relief to the neighborhood if it's condos rather than apartments, although we can't, if we approve it, we can't tell an applicant whether it can be condos or apartments. It's like beyond our authority. But I'll just point out condos can be rented out too. And that we definitely cannot. We've thought in the past about imposing a requirement that the condos not be rentable, but it turns out that runs afoul of some federal banking regulations, because it becomes almost impossible to get a mortgage for a condo that you're not allowed to rent out, because if the bank forecloses on a unit and they can't rent it out, they got a problem, right? So the banks, we've been told that if we put a requirement that a condo cannot be rented, that makes it impossible for them to get a mortgage. So it's just not feasible to do that. So that's where we are. Let me go out. I think it's really important. Yes.
Chairman, could I just-
Yeah, go ahead and respond, and then I'll go to members of the public.
The first concern is, yes, these buildings were built years ago. They were built before zoning came in 1958 and 1960. The reality is they peacefully coexisted for 100 years. They coexist around town. Some of them are in the appropriate zone, some of them not, because they were built 100 years ago. But the reality is they peacefully coexist. And when you look at the chapter 48 of the zoning bylaw, you look at what the variance was required in order to get a variance. One of the things is, does it peacefully coexist? Does it meld with the neighborhood? Or is it something that's totally out of character?
It is out of character.
Well, that may be your opinion. That may be your opinion.
No, it's not.
And you're certainly entitled to your opinion. But the reality is, there are hundreds of buildings in this town that don't comply with current zoning, but yet they peacefully coexist, and people live there, and they become, significant members of the community. So, yeah,
I don't disagree.
You can go back on.
Yeah, what you're saying is fine. It's just this project is too big.
Yeah, then that may be your opinion, and I appreciate and respect your opinion, certainly, Bob. The second thing is, gentlemen, actually you spoke about parking. The parking required for this project is 10.6 spaces. The parking provided for this project is 12 spaces. You cite, well, what if there's Christmas? What if there's a graduation party? Every house in Whitman would violate your rule if it required to have enough overflow parking to accommodate that graduation party, that birthday party, that Christmas party. Because we all know, we go down the street and we see a line of cars along the side of the street, and we say, who's having a party? That's simply.
The bigger issue is, I was there today, and there was a line of cars on the street, and there's nothing going on. So when there is something going on, it's more of a public safety thing for me. Also, if there's a variance, doesn't there have to be a hardship for a variance?
Yes.
So what's the hardship?
Yeah. Well, the hardship is, it's difficult sometimes to come up with a hardship, frankly. And honestly, if that law, 40A, was applied strictly, there'd probably never be a variance granted in the state of Massachusetts again. And anybody that's been on the board for any period of time, I think, would acknowledge that, because that's the most difficult form of the variance test is the hardship. But I'm just saying, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, I'm just saying that if you held everybody to that standard of having to provide for on-site parking for that occasional party that happens, you'd never build another house in the town. Another point, and that is the extra room. These gentlemen say, we'll just do the garage down below. They're okay with that. So if you want to take away the office, no problem at all. That was just kind of a throw in, I think, when they were looking at planning this. As far as that extra room, that could apply to any single house in Whitman. We try to give credit to people that they're going to follow our laws, then when they buy a 3-bedroom, they're not gonna make it a 4 or 5 or 6 bedroom, but the reality is, any one of them could. And so to hold that issue as maybe a negative towards this project, I would just respectfully say that could apply to any single home, a single family home, 2, 3, 4, 5 family, any one of them could decide, hey, I'm gonna add a wing on the back and we'll have 5 bedrooms, 6 bedrooms, whatever. It happens.
I think the difference there, Ron, is that there's a bathroom. That's a full bathroom that's
Are you
accommodated
referring to downstairs?
downstairs in the
Yeah.
basement. There's a
Yeah.
full bathroom that's associated with that office space.
Well, I think
So,
with the office space goes the bathroom.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's no
There'd be no bathroom down
It was just to give more facilities in the house. Sometimes that's what we design, we just think about giving everybody everything.
but I mean, to your comment, sure, there may be houses that a room is being used for a bedroom, and it shouldn't be. Here, it's very blatant, very blatant. There's a bathroom, there's a closet, it's a space, it's a bedroom. Call it what it is.
Sorry about that.
Other than maybe some other houses.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. And then just the last thing I would say to Fire is that, yes, we'll do everything in our power to create more space down here to provide turnaround. But correct me if I'm wrong, if you drive down Cherry Street because you're gonna put a fire out down the end of Cherry Street, you can't turn a 50-foot truck around at the end of Cherry Street.
I'd have to double check to see if there's a cul-de-sac at the end or.
There is not.
Pretty tight.
You guys have always backed up down the street.
I live on 108, so I am the dead end. There's no way you would get your rigger in my driveway, back up to that dead end. I have 2 large boulders, it would never happen.
You can't even do a 3-point turn.
Yeah.
No.
But you guys have always backed up the trucks anytime you
I
come
mean,
down the road.
you could probably get you're not getting the extension ladder in my driveway and then backing up out of my driveway unless you go on 111's property.
Okay.
So those are my points. I respect everything you have to say. And we've talked with my clients and revised the plan. And I just, that's it.
Thank you. All right, let me go out to the members of the public who've been really patient. If you can just raise your hand, give me your name and address, and we'd really like your input on this. It'd be very helpful. And just,
I'll go first because I go to work in the morning. I'm last name's Buick, by the way. Even if you butchered it, first name's Mike. I'm just worried because it's really gonna.
And what's your address?
108 Cherry. I'm the last house on the left.
Okay, yep.
It's a nice lot. When we bought it, we boosted it up. That house has always been hell in a handbag. So we were all for them, taking it down, bringing the neighborhood up. It's only going to bring more value to the whole neighborhood. Hopefully bring even better people to the neighborhood. So I'm all for it, as long as you guys can make it happen.
Okay.
Josh Fowler, I live at 103. Honestly, I didn't really know a lot about the plans coming in here today. I thought this was going to be me fighting because it was going to be apartments rather than it to be condos. And I was, had concerns around parking. There seems to be addressed. Does feel like maybe we come down like 20% in size, but I'm not an architect or a planner. But yeah, the cops have been, we bought the house in 2016, they've been there 250 times at least. We would like a refresh.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
Alan Matheson, 95 Cherry Street. I live directly across the street.
Okay.
I bought the house in 2003, and I said to myself, we're going to outlast these assholes. We did. We were very happy. We met these guys, super nice guys. I like this whole thing that you guys are doing. I had no idea what to expect.
Yeah.
And it's been back and forth. I'm loving it.
More of these.
I think these guys are eventually going to build something there, which is awesome. I can't wait to see this thing come down. My biggest concern was the parking, which I talked to these guys about before. It seems like you guys are addressing it, and I'm all for it. I'm like, whatever you guys can decide to do, get on the same page, get it all done. I'm more than happy to finally get this done.
Michelle, with this one here. We do appreciate that you will have buyers for it, that it won't be just apartments and random people coming all the time. But we definitely are happy to see something fresh and new there.
And I love the fact that you guys are gonna be living there.
Yeah,
Yep, that's huge.
yeah.
I met you guys, we talked, great neighbors, so I'm all for it.
Again, I just have to point out, once we approve it, the permit goes with the land, not the owner. So,
Sure.
yes, he's going to be living there. Some point,
Yeah.
might be 50 years from now, he'll move. So you can't always be sure that
That's true.
one of the owners of the units will be the person who built it. But
But anything's better than what's there now.
I fully understand that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm gonna last 50. I don't have more.
I think our biggest thing was the parking issue.
Okay. All right. Well, clearly we're going to need to continue because we don't have a full site plan anyway, but I don't want to send them away without having sort of a sense of the board of what would be acceptable in terms of, just number of units and style and so forth. Yes, go ahead.
If I may say something
Yes.
before you guys say
Yeah.
anything. So, coming in here today was a little bit different from the zones that I normally go, because I'm involved in this one. Normally I go just to represent clients. You're very detached from the project. You don't really care about the outcome. It's not that you don't care, let's rephrase it properly. It doesn't take into your mind the comments you discuss it more in a technical way. And today it wasn't the case for me. So I would gladly hear all your suggestions for us to improve this, because I want this to happen. Maybe not to that scale, maybe not to that side, but I want this to happen, and I want for us in all the street to live well together. So maybe this is a little bit out of character, maybe it is too much, maybe there's some improvement we can do. And also, bringing the valid point that you brought, I don't want people going in there and transforming the place and making out of character. And then, I don't know, certain amounts of years to back where we started. I don't want that to happen. Mm-hmm. And I appreciate all the comments. I'll take those into consideration as we move forward.
I'll just throw one other point to be considered when you're thinking about this and redesigning it. These are going to be 3-bedroom units. You're going to have families and children. So think about what area of the yard is going to be available as a play area for the kids. If you're trying to squeeze in just every bit of parking that's needed for everything, well, is there usable open space? Other lots, we think about open space in terms of just protecting the neighbors. Is there a visual buffer like we talked about with the parking lot? Even on the other side, is there some separation, some fencing or trees or whatever? But usable open space matters in this case because there are going to be kids there too. So there should be a usable backyard. If it's going to be condos, think about what part of maybe just behind each building, is there going to be a exclusive area of use for each unit? Are you anticipating some sort of garden or patio area behind each unit? But again, it's probably not enough based on this plan to really be a usable play space. So is there going to be a common area that could be a play space? And as was mentioned, snow removal, if you're going to have to plow, is there a space to put the snow? Dumpster location, where's that going to go? Because if it's 3 units, the town will pick up the trash. But if it's 4 units, you're going to have a private company pick up the trash. So you're going to need a dumpster. It has to be enclosed and fenced and so forth. All right, let me just go down the board, particularly the members voting on this case, and just, what would you like to see them come back with? Let's try to get some consensus as to what's acceptable to the board. So we don't want to send them away, have them come back with a plan that turns out you can't live with. So that's a waste of time and money.
Chairman,
Yeah.
I think they've heard our concerns. So I don't think we should really tell them, drop it to 2, drop it to 3, put in a single family. I personally thought that what you proposed here was beautiful and would fit if you had 150 feet of frontage. But you don't, you have 75. So you've got to squeeze something in there, or no, you can't squeeze it in. You gotta be able to design something that will fit a very narrow lot. All the while, you need to be able to get fire apparatus to the back of the property. So, I mean, I can only, as I said earlier, if you could shrink it, I don't know how that works for your, I know you want to max, what was that word that phrase we learned last meeting? Maximum marketability. But, and we understand that, but if you're only able to put a single family, then put a single family. If you're able to put a two family, given the concerns that you heard tonight, if you're able to create something that's a three family, given the concerns that we gave you tonight, then I'd say go with it. But I don't want to tell you what to build there.
Thank you. I understand.
Well,
If you can put 4 units and address our concerns, then you've done it. But I don't know how you can possibly do it.
yeah. I guess, well, I'll leave it to each. Let me just go down and ask every person to kind of wrap up their thoughts after they've heard everything, and then we'll just have to let you go on your way. But I just want to give the applicant some sense, at least, of what's not acceptable. Maybe let's put it that way, you know. Well, I'll ask even the people who are not voting, because conceivably, if we hold another hearing, somebody might be absent, and we have, yeah. So, Mr. Winnett, just your reactions.
I guess for me, overall, I think it is an improvement for the neighborhood. The way that you've got the building faced to, I think, fits the neighborhood too. You're not seeing the garages. So even though it's out of character for the neighborhood, I think from a street view perspective, I think it fits fine. With respect to the office downstairs, I think if you make the adjustments that are needed for all the spatial concerns that have been raised, maybe end up shrinking it. And I agree with you, today's world is a hybrid world, working from home. Having that office space secluded away from family or distractions down solid is a good idea. Make it smaller, get rid of the bathroom, get rid of the closet, so it can't be misconstrued that it's a bedroom. You know what I mean? Make it an office. To me, that would satisfy at least the major concerns. And obviously, what you're going to do on the, on the side facing the 90 Cherry Street.
Okay. Mr. Travis?
I think it has to be downsized. I don't have any suggestions on how to do that or how to arrange them on the property, but it's just too much for that piece of land. And albeit it's going to be a huge improvement, whatever you put there. I'm very familiar with that neighborhood also, so we appreciate you trying to improve it.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Mr. Curran?
I'm encouraged by the abutters. I think that they're looking forward to this property getting approved. The driveway width, I'm concerned about that. So if you could just research, put a Tahoe in one of those garages and see what they have to go through, because they're almost 20 feet long. So I'm not sure how they're gonna get in there, never mind back in there. So maybe do that. I think this lot, I think you still need a variance if you were to do a 2-unit, a 2-family unit.
From the size of the lot, yeah, that would be the only thing.
So maybe consider that. I would be more than happy to, and I've been to that property many times through my career. So yeah, I know it's going to be a big improvement, whatever you do there. I think this is just a little too much. And all respect for you guys, I think you're doing a good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Jones?
I share the same sentiments, right? It looks 100 times better than what's there now. We all know that. But it's just too much for that area. 100 years ago, I don't think something like this would have passed, but we weren't here then. So here we are today, and that's kind of what I think.
Mr. Kimball?
Yeah, no, I agree with what people are saying. Potentially, maybe if you have 3 units, make it a little bit narrower, make the 3 units a little bit wider, still get your square footage. If you can do that, something like that, that might be acceptable. But to a previous speaker, we've had in the past year, we've had 2 projects that we've approved for 3 bedrooms, and they came on Zillow advertises 4 bedrooms. So that's why we're very concerned about the number of bedrooms. And that happened on 2 properties. Thank you.
Yeah, Mr. Blas?
We want you to build something. Well, you know, I can say that we're not butting heads.
No.
We're working, we will work with you, and we will together come up with something that works.
We definitely will. That's why I said this meeting was, like, particularly for me, that was sitting there for hours thinking how to fit things there.
We're different than Brockton. We're different than the Brockton Board of Appeals.
Oh, yeah, Brockton. Brockton Halifax.
They already have their minds up, made up before you even start the meeting.
Those are the best.
We appreciate the comments from all of you, and honestly, on behalf of the calls, thank you. We couldn't ask for more than just an honest dialogue and feedback, and we'll go back to the drawing board and come back with something that
So let me,
perhaps a lot more.
yeah, let me add just a couple more things, just to follow up on everybody. I mean, I think if you have this existing design, 3 units would work a whole lot better than 4. It would it'd make it easier for the fire department by shrinking it. You just have a lot more flexibility on what you do.
That's not.
Yeah. And I just, because if you're going to have space out back, I could see you want people to be able to walk into that basement level, so you don't, I could understand why you don't want an all garage, but it just, of course, if it doesn't have any windows, then it won't meet the building code for bedrooms, so that would at least help enforceability. But, I mean, overall, to me, that it's essentially a 3-story design, except the first floor is garage space. I mean, I'd rather see a kind of a lower design, but I recognize the lot slopes down, so that's a factor in visibility from the street. It won't look quite as tall. Give some thought about, though, how that first, while I agree with what's been said, that maybe this is actually preferable to having it parallel to the street because of the limited frontage you have. At the same time, sort of having a side wall facing the street is not very attractive. So just think of, again, it may just be a matter of vegetation or something to the design to soften that appearance if we are going to have a building that's perpendicular to the street, if that's what you wind up with. But give a thought to just the whole concept of what is essentially a 3-story townhouse. Again, maybe, do you really need garages? That's you've got to think about in terms of marketability and what the demand in the market is and all. But I see plenty of these that don't have garages and just have parking spaces, and that would that would allow you to have a lower design and or even just some additional space there. So 4 units are just crowding the lot by the time you're trying to fit in the parking, the ease of getting into the garage spaces. Maybe the buildings actually need to be a little closer to the building to the right, just to ease the turnaround and getting in and out, and that would, maybe you'd be a little better off if the building itself were a little bit closer to the property to the right of the building with sufficient shielding and so forth, and that's just the back area anyway, and that would allow you to have a little bit more of a buffer between the parking area and the building to the house to the left of the building. It just give you a little more flexibility there. And I don't think, another couple of feet for closer isn't a big deal. I mean, the greater impact is to the people who are living opposite the parking spaces, because that's where cars are going in and out, and as has been said, lights are shining and so forth. So being a little bit closer to the building on the right side isn't as much of an issue to me. So I think it's fair to say there's sufficient people on the board who would not be happy with 4 units. Is that a fair? Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Timber, you made a comment about making the units wider and not as deep. And I think that was a great comment by doing that, eliminate one of the units, basically turn them 90 degrees. That's going to give you much, if you're going to keep the garages, that's kind of going to eliminate that whole idea of a bedroom in the back, because now you're going to have much more garage. It's going to alleviate a lot of that driveway issues going in and out of your garage. The width for apparatus getting in there. I would also suggest putting in a fence, an 8-foot fence there, as a barrier for the headlights going in and out of the spaces. But no, we'll work with you.
Yeah. The last comment I want to make is I have no problem with it being 3-bedroom units. I know sometimes we've had thoughts of it should only be 2 bedrooms, whatever. No, the town needs more 3-bedroom units too. So I'd rather see, 3 units with 3 bedrooms each than 4 units with 2 bedrooms each. Okay, I'd rather you make these family units.
Mr. Chairman, won't be a good date to continue?
Yeah. So let's see. Certainly not the 3rd or the 17th of August, because those are likely to be lengthier hearings too. So we have a hearing on the 24th, which is for that, I mentioned the landscape business going into the Austin Realty.
This is the 24th of August?
Yeah.
What's that name?
Put this on at 7:30, even 7:45 maybe to allow.
7:30 is fine. That's going to be, should be no problem.
Should be, yeah, should be some, okay, I think we could.
That looks pretty straightforward for me.
Okay, all right. So would that give you enough time if it's August 24th? Is that, I got that right?
5 weeks, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, 24 should be fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so August 24th at 7:30. We have one other case at 7, but we're thinking we can get that over. So you folks would not get another notice about that, so if you still want to come back, just kind of make a note of that. It'd be August 24th at 7:30. So I'll entertain a motion for a continuance. Moved by Mr. Kimball to continue the hearing to August 24th at 7:30, seconded by Mr. Blas. All in favor? That'd be the 5 voting members, Mr. Travers, Mr. Curran, Mr. Kimball, Mr. Blas, and myself, John Goldrosen. So that's what we'll do then.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming. We really appreciate the input.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
They make 3 units, maybe 3 feet long, so you get a little more square footage.
How are you?
Doing well?
Yeah, me.
I have a couple of questions about like what I heard. When you say headlights, right? Like you need batteries for headlights, right? My driveway comes out and goes straight into someone's house in theory, right? So do I have to shut my headlights off when I'm backing down my driveway?
No, we're just saying, somebody comes before us, particular.
No, I'm just asking a question. This is things I heard. You know, it's just, I was just curious, you know?
No, it's just the nature of this.
So, you know, I live on 108, so my driveway is a horseshoe.
Yeah.
So I'm that. So when I back in my driveway every night, my headlights go straight into the house across the street from me.
But it's across the street.
Right.
This is,
Oh, adjacent.
you know, and
Okay.
again,
I was just curious, 'cause I heard you say that.
that's our concern. It's often in these cases, the parking is going to be right up against the property.
And then I have one more question. So my neighbors next to me, they're awesome, but their dumpster is not fenced. It just sits in the driveway, and a lot of times it sits up against my property.
Yeah, so, again, we have control here because we're granting a permit.
Okay, so how do I?
But if you have, I'd say, Board of Health.
Oh, I'd have to go down. Okay, I was just curious. I think I heard through the meeting. I've never been on one of these before, so.
There may, I don't know.
I mean, they're great people, but the owner, she lives in like Tennessee or something.
So, you know, does it get overloaded and not get empty?
It's just in the summertime, you know, it gets smell. And
Yeah,
it's really close to my property.
yeah. And is there room for them to move it somewhere else?
So you said, I forget, so I'm 108, so they're like 104, 102, whatever, the yellow
I
house.
just want to adjourn the meeting.
Yeah, all right. We'll see you on the 24th.
Okay. All right, I think we already did the minutes, so I think we're ready to adjourn. So we have meetings August 3rd, which is the modification of Northville Village. So Mr. Travers, you won't sit on that one.
I won't be in pain.
Or you won't be here anyway, okay. The 17th, we have the continuation of 25 Rye Hill Street.
Yeah.
And then the 24th, we have 293 Bedford, the landscape business, and the continuation of this one. Okay?
Okay.
All right, so
Motion to adjourn.
motion to adjourn by Mr. Kimball. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Blas.
Okay.
All in favor?
Yeah.
5-0, 7-0.
Yeah, I want
We're
to
adjourned.
the Red Sox.